Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. Did you miss me? Didn't even know it was gone. The thing about my YouTube channel is that it's the only place in my life right now that I can actually take a break, and last week after Halloween I felt like that's what was needed. You know, feeling the end of year burnout and just had to take a rest. So that's what I did. But we're back this week, and if you have read the title of this video and if you clicked on this video, you know that today we are talking about mistakes. Now this is a personal play on a very typical style of video that lots of folks here on YouTube do, which is the fails video. I've done a favorites video, and this is my version of a fails, but I have decided to take the route of mistakes because I want to hold myself accountable for the decisions that were made. I partook in the decision-making process. I am an equal party in the quote-unquote fail of these products and things that we're going to talk about today. They didn't just fail on their own. They're mistakes because it was a decision that I made. And I made those decisions because I have no impulse control. We've talked about this. This was kind of the whole inspiration behind my no-buy in the summertime, which if you've been here for a while, you know that that was not entirely a success. If you have been here for a while, you also know that the way that I soothe the hole in my soul is by shopping. That's kind of my vice. That's my, addiction. I don't really drink or do drugs. I have the occasional sip and puff. But otherwise, it's really shopping. Shopping is the thing that gets me. Shopping is where my emotional impulses have an absolute party on a frequent basis. And so everything that is here today, everything from makeup to some beauty tools, to podcasts, to movies, and some life things are mistakes that I made because of this lack of impulse control, because I decided to emotional shop or whatever. So without further ado, shall we get right into it? I'm gonna start with the makeup, body care, fragrance, beauty tools, quote-unquote mistakes / fails, because I feel like that's why most people come to these videos, is because you want to know what just didn't work. And obviously the disclaimer in any of these kinds of videos, whether you call it a mistake or a fail, is that this is personal. This particular item didn't work for me personally does not mean it's not going to work for you personally, because everyone is different. Everybody's skin tone is different. Everybody's biology and chemistry is different. So, that's always, you take these things with a grain of salt, but sometimes it's really entertaining just to see what the flops were. And some of this is actually a bit of a declutter, and I'll identify those things. The things that are being decluttered aren't being decluttered because they were a fail or a mistake. The mistake was just keeping them way past their expiration dates. I'm going to start with a controversial one, or maybe it's not so controversial because I haven't honestly seen a lot of people continue to talk about this specific product really after the first few weeks following its launch, and that is the Bite Beauty Daycation Whipped Blush. I've only spoken about this a few times. I got the shade Hibiscus Slush. It's very similar to the color on the label there. It is a fuchsia sparkly thing, and the packaging looks like a teeny weeny, and we've all had that conversation. I bought this because I love Bite Beauty, but it was absolutely an impulse purchase that I really regret spending my money on. I've used it maybe once or twice. It's just not a formula that worked for me. It's a color that I do enjoy. It's a little cool for me. if you've been here for a while, you know that we don't really go heavily on the cool toned shades, especially cheek colors. I have a couple light pinks, or not light pinks, but I have a couple pinks in my collection, but otherwise we go more, you know, orangey brown tones. And if we go cool, it's purple, and that's usually like eye colors. But yeah, I'm really disappointed. I think the packaging is, as cute as this looks, like this, it's an absolute nightmare. It's really hard to control the amount of product. And while the color looks nice, I just have had a terrible time with it on my actual cheeks. It swatches nice, the like actual texture is nice. It's like very moussey, but I don't know, it's such a disappointment, and I don't think I will ever use this because it's also like sparkly. I don't know if you can tell on the swatch, but not a fan. And I'm really disappointed in myself for making that impulsive purchase because it was completely an unnecessary addition to my collection, especially for someone who is not doing YouTube, is not doing beauty YouTube professionally, and doesn't have an unlimited budget for this kind of product. So, sorry, Alanna, you failed. The next one is another cheek product, which I did feature on my channel at one point. I was like kind of excited about when I bought it and when I got it and when I tried it the first time, but I have not really used it since. And it's just another one of these things where I'm like, I really shouldn't have done that. That was impulsive, and I'm not even surprised that it was impulsive because it's a ColourPop product. It is the Soul Medium Dark Face and Body Bronzing Balm. And I was like, this is great. It's a huge amount of product. I can use this as a bronzer. And it's a great color, but the scent, which I think when I originally showcased it on my channel, I said that it smells like the Hawaiian Tropic After Sun lotion. It's a beautiful shade, but the scent is so strong. So if this is a product that has ever intrigued you, it's for your body. Use it for your body because the scent does not really disappear. And if it's on your cheeks and you're turning or there's a gust of wind, it's gonna go right up your nose. And unless you truly love the scent of that like Hawaiian Tropic After Sun product, it's going to haunt your nose. And it's not pleasant. And I also noticed that this was like kind of accentuating texture on my cheek, which I didn't appreciate, you know? So I might keep it around for something or other, but I have really not used that since. So it's just another mistake. It was a mistake. And the biggest mistake in association with this product was when I made the purchase because it was so inexpensive and I was on ColourPop and I was having an impulsive shopping moment, all because of that Barbie mirror, which I don't regret. The Barbie mirror is adorable. Love that so much. But I was like, oh, this is a great color for me right now being when I bought it. And I was like, but I'm gonna get darker this summer. So I bought 2 of these. One in a deeper shade, so love that for me. Love that for me. I'll do another cheek product here, which I've had for years, and this is also something that like I can't even pass on to someone else. I think this just needs to go straight into the garbage. It is the Coco Kind Reishi Gold Sunray Skin Nourishing Highlighter. I don't even know if they still use this packaging anymore. It's this like very bright, very gold stick balm thing. I bought this pre-pandemic, and like when I say pre-pandemic, I'm pretty sure it was 2018. This is a natural product, quote unquote natural beauty. So on average, like the most you can get out of a product like this in terms of shelf life after it's been opened is maybe 12 months. That being said, we're almost in 2022, so like I should not put this on my body other than like a swatch on my hand. I don't know. I think if I really sheared out a gold like that, I could totally pull it off for a highlighter maybe, or like gold on my eyes, but I just have never really used this other than literally just playing around in my bedroom at midnight. So mistake. And the formula is beautiful. I love Cocoa Kind products. I love that it is a brand that's available here in Canada, like in stores. Shoppers Drug Mart carries it. And I've used plenty of Cocoa Kind skincare products. Love the brand, love the products. This was just a mistake. It was an impulse purchase because I was in one of those moods. Next is a multi-purpose product and another kind of controversial mistake. And it has nothing to do with the brand. It has nothing to do with the product itself. It was just, this is a personal mistake. And unfortunately, this breaks my heart. It is the Danessa Myricks Color Fix Glaze in Cupcake. Which, if you watched my Danessa Myricks video, I'm pretty sure that I used this. And when I made my first Danessa Myricks product purchase from Sephora, I bought 3 of these. And my idea when I made that purchase, it was somewhat impulsive, but I was like, I'm gonna play it safe and I'm gonna get 3 different textures of this product in the same shade because that's safe, right? Because I'm guaranteed to like it and to use it. Wrong. The like shimmer metallic color that I got, beautiful. The matte color that I got, also beautiful. But the glaze, I just don't really know if I'm gonna have a long-term use for this product. I wouldn't put the glaze on my cheeks. I'm not going to wear this on my eyes unless I was doing some kind of editorial look, and quite frankly, I don't think I'm personally going to do any kind of editorial look, even if I'm taking my own pictures with a glaze of this color. It's not the color I would go towards. It's beautiful. The packaging is gorgeous. I love the color fix so much. It's just the mistake itself was this shade in the glaze. I don't even know if I should have purchased a glaze in the first place. I probably should have stuck to like the mattes and then the like shimmery ones. My bank account cried. I mean, it's not an outrageously expensive product, but still disappointed. This might also be controversial. I don't know, but it was definitely a mistake. And again, it was an impulse purchase, not one that I made this year. It was last spring. And it is the Kosas 10-second eyeshadow in the shade 333. I was going to say 666, but no, it's 333. And I bought this because if you've been hanging out with me for a while, if you know me at all, I love purple so much. So I was like, oh my God, I've been wanting a purple eyeshadow since I was in high school when I threw out my last purple eyeshadow. So this is perfect. And the hype was so huge when Kosas came out with the 10-second eyeshadows. Everybody and their mother got one, and I didn't play it safe. And so I got this one, and from everything that I've heard, I'm not the only one who has struggled with the purple shade. It's patchy, it's a little bit difficult to blend out. It just doesn't really work as well as more popular shades like Globe. But also because it's, again, you know, clean / green beauty, there's a very short shelf life. And now this, this is garbage. This should not go on anybody's body. No, nope, this is done. And again, what a mistake, because I think I used this on my eyes maybe twice because it was hard to work with. And it was an impulse purchase that I just should have bit my tongue on. I should have forgotten my debit card number in the moment. Next is another eye product. It is the Nude by Nature Definition Eyeliner in 02, let's say 02? 02 Brown. I purchased this, I don't know, whenever I did that drugstore makeup video in the summertime, and I don't have a lot of liquid liners, but this one, if you are not someone who is used to a liquid liner, don't even go near the Nude by Nature one. It's really sloppy. I don't know if you would be able to tell when I hold it up like this, but it's a brush and it's really like flimsy. It's not, I just don't have enough dexterity and like hand control to draw a perfectly thin, controlled line with this. It's just super, super messy and it dries down really, really fast. So you don't have a lot of like margin of error. It is another mistake. I have never used this on my eye except for doing this kind of thing. And obviously that's not on my eye, that's on my hand. So mistake. Okay, lips. Oh wait, no, there's one more eye product. Okay, to me, this is a lesson to just not buy Quo Beauty makeup. Their makeup tools and things and brushes I've never had an issue with, but so far I have struck out on any kind of beauty like makeup product that I've purchased from Quo Beauty. And if you're in the US, that means nothing to you because I'm pretty sure that Quo is exclusive to Shoppers Drug Mart because it's Canadian. So one of these days, like earlier in the spring, or I think it was before I did my no buy, I was just strolling around Shoppers Drug Mart and this guy right here, little shadow stick in a very troublesome color for me, was on one of those end caps and I was like, ooh, pretty. But they're obviously, you know, you're pandemic shopping, there's no samples. And when I saw this, my assumption was that it's an eyeshadow stick. I thought that the eyeshadow was going to be this like pretty lavender lilac color. The light here is making this look a lot bluer than it actually is. It's definitely more of like a softer, it definitely leans more pink. If I hold it back here, maybe you can kind of tell, but it's not as blue as it's picking up in the viewfinder, at least. Maybe on camera it will show up the right tone, but I got so excited because I was like, I would love a solid like eyeshadow in this pretty shade. No, it's not. It's not even close to that. It's this really sheer, sparkly nonsense. And I was like, well, I already have something like that. But again, there was no samples. I just impulse purchased this and I don't know, I'm not gonna return that. But I thought I could make it work for a while and then I was like, I'm never gonna use this. Also, I'm not a 13-year-old girl. I might look like one sometimes, but I'm not. No. Mistake. Big, fat mistake. Moving on, another Quo product, which I kind of liked at first, and the more I used it, the more I wanted to barf. And now there seems to be something suspicious in the bottom of it. It is the Quo Beauty lip oil in the grape flavor. Feels great on the lips, but that Benadryl smell, nope. Nope, 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 don't want to be anywhere near children's Benadryl. And it doesn't really do much long-term wise for, you know, your lip hydration. I have all kinds of other lip balms and lip chaps and lip glosses that do a way better job, so no, sorry. And also, do you see this, like, what is that? Growing in the bottom? I don't know, but that's going in the garbage too. Mistake! Okay, I got a couple more lip products here and then we're gonna move on to body, fragrance, and a giant tool mistake. This is, the next one here is, again, early in the spring, probably all in the same freaking Shoppers Drug Mart shopping trip, can't remember. I was like, I need a lip liner. Other than the singular Annabelle lip liner that I have. Now I have two Annabelle lip liners because I turned that around, but I got the Maybelline Color Sensational Shaping Lip Liner in Rich Chocolate and Raw Chocolate. These two lovely brown shades. This one is still in the packaging because I opened this one, the Rich Chocolate, and first of all, I hate the packaging. I don't like these kind of lip liners. I like a straight pencil that you can sharpen, and like something happened to it. I must have dropped it because it's really wiggling around in there. But this smells toxic. This smells like the inside of a new car. And while that may be nice for the inside of an actual new car, that is not a nice thing or a safe thing to put anywhere near an orifice. No, don't put that on your lips. Do not put that on your mouth because you're going to ingest that and that's just some toxic fumes. Also, I don't think this is cruelty-free. So that was just a huge oversight on my part. Usually if I'm unsure about something when I'm at a drugstore and I'm buying a new product from a line that I don't typically shop from, I will stand there and Google the brand extensively to find out whether or not they're cruelty-free. And the cruelty-free thing is having a moment right now because, I'll link KACKIE's video in the description box down below if you want to go down the cruelty-free road, but it's a whole hot mess and nothing might be cruelty-free anymore actually, because there's all kinds of gray areas and loopholes because the world is just a tricky, confusing, messed up place. But I don't even think that Maybelline can get a stamp of any sort of cruelty-free status, so bad idea. Next is going to be kind of a shocker, but maybe not because I've already shit on Bite once today. The next mistakes, plural, are 2 of the Bite Beauty Power Move Creamy Matte Lip Crayon. And I don't even know when I bought these. I feel like I bought these in store, so that was 2019, which also means that these are probably destined for the garbage. I got the shades Tatin or Tatin and Nonino. And I guess I was just really trying to be somebody that I'm not when I bought these shades, if I'm perfectly honest with myself. And that was somebody who really enjoys a pinky nude. And I'm not. I'm someone who enjoys a brown nude. And I'm not someone who particularly enjoys mauve or mauve, however you decide you want to pronounce that. And these shades are not really for me. They're not really for my skin tone. And this one here, which I think is the Tatin, is very similar to the Danessa Myricks products in the Color Fix, the like shade range that I chose. And it's just really not a very complimentary tone for me personally. And I can tell you that I have gotten almost no wear out of these. I might give them to my mom to see if she wants to use them. I might use the pinkier one. Again, I think that's Tatin or Tatin as like a cheek color. I don't know. It was just a mistake, and I should have just, if I was going to buy this, and if I decide to buy one of these products again, I will just go for a color that I know I'm actually going to wear rather than trying to like stray outside of my comfort zone and just like in a moment of impulse try to be someone that I'm not because everyone else is doing it. Like, you're almost 32 years old, Alanna. You don't need to say how high just because someone says jump. Like, that's just stupid. And you don't need to be making those kinds of mistakes. You know who you are. You talk about that all the time on this channel. You know what you like. And when you do want to step outside of your comfort zone, it doesn't have to be so impulsive. And if it is going to be impulsive, I don't know, don't buy makeup. Does that make sense? Anyways, the next 2 things in the lip zone before we move on are also Bite Beauty products. They were not mistakes, but they are like way past their expiry date and need to be decluttered. And they also just don't exist anymore. They're these adorable little double-sided lipsticks that I got in, like, honestly, probably 2015. So this one, what are they even called? So these were like a limited edition, like holiday amuse-bouche lipstick, double-sided. This one is cherry and gold. So it came with like the lipstick and then a topper. Honestly, really brilliant. And I got quite a bit of use out of them. It's just a girl can only wear so much lipstick. And then this one is jam and opal. Honestly, you can tell by that discoloration that this is way past its prime. So jam and opal. Again, just like a really gorgeous topper. And the formula is beautiful. And I should have said that about the other 2 Bite lips. Bite makes beautiful products. The mistake has nothing to do. It's not a fail. They didn't fail me. I failed myself. I made a mistake because I made an impulse purchase. But again, those last 2 items were not mistakes. They were not fails. I have just kept them way longer than I should have. Okay, next, should I do body? Yeah, okay. So we'll go number 1. This is the Meow Meow Tweet Lavender Lemongrass Body Oil. Again, several years old. And it was an impulse buy that occurred, I'm sure, on one of my lunch breaks when I was still working in the studio every single day. And wandered over to Noah's Natural Foods because I needed to get out of the studio and I was bored and lonely and hungry, and the only thing that soothed my soul was spending money, and I was like, oh, I need a body oil, why not? And so I bought this one, and as you can see, in the many, many years that I have had it, I have barely put a dent into it, and it is just too lemongrassy for me. Lemongrass is okay in small doses, but otherwise it's just like submerging yourself straight into a jumbo box of Fruit Loops. And honestly, I'm not here for it. The oil itself is fine, but the scent I can't really handle. And I don't know what my excuse was, because this was pre-pandemic and I'm pretty sure there was probably a sample for me to give a sniff. And I just didn't. And now I'm stuck with this. And I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do with this mass amount of body oil. But it was a mistake and I regret it. Next up, we have 2 deodorants here that were impulse purchases, because when you are a natural deodorant user, there's just a lot of jumping around between products. And if you're anything like me and you use natural deodorant, you're always on the hunt for the next best thing. Let me tell you what the best thing is, and then we can move on. The best thing is Native. Native deodorant. It's the hype is real. Native is fabulous. I am back on Native. Native is now being carried at Shoppers Drug Mart, thank goodness. And did I order some of their new holiday scents? Yes. So happy I did. So happy I switched back to Native, because I don't stink, but thanks to these 2 products, I stunk for a while at the end of this summer. The first is the Weleda Citrus 24-Hour Roll-On Deodorant. The first week or so, it was lovely. But let me just tell you something. I should not put citrus in my armpits, ever. Never. The second that I purchased, which I barely used, it's still full. I gave this maybe 3 swipes. This is the Own Beauty aluminum-free deodorant in the scent coconut and mango, which in theory sounded fabulous and exactly like the kind of scent that I would love, but no. No, this also should never go on my armpits. We're just gonna leave it there. And we're gonna move on to more fragrance things. I don't know if I've really talked about this very much on my channel or even how interesting it is, but I don't really do a lot of fragrance in the form of like perfumes. I dabbled here and there when I was in high school. I think I had a couple Britney Spears perfumes. I'm pretty sure I had Fantasy, and the other one that was in the like gold bottle that looked like apple juice. I think it kind of smelled like apple juice too. But when I do gravitate towards scented things, I am a dark, sweet scent girl. I like vanillas, but I like dark vanilla. They have to have some depth to them. It's fine to smell sugary and sweet sometimes. If I'm going to lean that way, I would prefer it to be like a body lotion, because it kind of just sinks into your skin and then it warms up because of the way that it sits on your skin, or at least that's what happens with me personally. You know, there's just it's a body lotion, so the scent doesn't stick with you all day necessarily. Maybe unless you're using that Brazilian Bum Bum cream, because I think that fragrance like really sticks, but I also tend to gravitate towards natural / green beauty for all of my products, including body lotions and fragrances. So, you know, take that with a grain of salt. Those fragrances don't always last very long. When it comes to perfumes, I have 2 in my adult years that I like and have actually used consistently in the last, I would say, like 5 or 6 years. One is Replica by the Fireplace, and even then I can only do that in small doses. Sometimes it's too strong for me. And the other one is Vanilla Woods by Seven Virtues. I really like that. It is very sweet though, and so I use it sparingly, and I just don't use perfume very often. But there have been moments in the past 5 to 6 years where I have had impulse fragrance purchases for no other reason other than, I don't know, similar to the lipstick thing. I just needed to be someone that I wasn't, or like branch out. and, I don't know, be more mature or mysterious, or I don't know what kind of bullshit goes on in my psyche sometimes, but this is why I'm in therapy. So the first, and I don't even know if this exists anymore, two of these are an Urban Outfitters impulse purchase. And when I was still living in Toronto, when I was still, you know, commuting every single day to the studio and back, I would often come out of the subway through the station where I lived, and there was an Urban Outfitters there, and I would walk through that Urban Outfitters multiple times a week, sometimes every single day, and I made a lot of impulse purchases during that time, and this was one of the mistakes. I have a lot of hits and a lot of misses at Urban Outfitters, as I'm sure most people do. This was a miss. This is Neon Jungle. I don't even know what the brand is, but if you recognize this, hi. It looks like I've used quite a bit. I don't know how that's possible. Maybe it has just evaporated. On initial sniff, it's not terrible. It's up my alley. It's coconut and wildflowers, which are the top notes marketed on the bottle. I like the aesthetic of this bottle. I like the design. There was a lot of things that appealed to me with this, but it was a mistake because on my body, I don't like the way this smells. The floral comes out really heavily, and I don't like floral scents. I can do rose and lavender as essential oil in a diffuser, or rose as like rose water in skincare, but like that's kind of my limit where floral scents are concerned. It's just too much for me. So this was a mistake and has been sitting in my collection, and I have moved with this. I moved with this. Why? Why? I just need to dump this out and move on with my life. The next one is another Urban Outfitters fragrance purchase. This was in my I need to be cool, not necessarily just different or mysterious. I need to be cool. And I was looking for a less expensive, I think, alternative to the replica by the fireplace. This is the Ind Smoke. It's a unisex fragrance. Again, aesthetically, I like the bottle. The scent is very similar to By the Fireplace, but there is just something else in here that is too much. And it smells a little bit like 1 Million by Paco Rabanne. Is that what it's called? I don't know. My uncle wears that, and one of my ex-boyfriends wore it, and it's just, nope. 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 I'm gonna stick to my Vanilla Woods. Thank you very much. Now, this one is I think the most recent fragrance purchase out of the 3 mistakes here. And again, I will reiterate, this is a mistake I made. I'm sure for some people, like the products themselves, they're not fails. They're just, I shouldn't have done it. And if I hadn't done it, it wouldn't have been a mistake. It wouldn't have been a fail. But it was, and I did. This is from Lush, because one day I decided that I was going to try Lush fragrance. That should have been my first red flag, honestly, because you can smell Lush fragrance from 18 blocks away. You don't need to buy a whole goddamn perfume. You just need to walk by a store. It'll smell like it for 3 weeks. This is the Gorilla perfume, All Good Things. I bought this in store, okay? I smelled things for a long time before I made this fateful decision. I think I was, again, going for something like mature and mysterious, and I should have just honestly stuck with cute and sweet, because that's who I am. Why do I keep trying to change myself? It makes no sense. I should just stay cute and sweet. I don't have to be smoky and mysterious. I just have to be a pixie. All Good Things? No. Again, at this distance without actually spraying it into the air, it smells okay. But as soon as it hits my body, I want to rip my skin off. Okay, moving on. Tools. This was a purchase, an impulse purchase made with good intentions. And I believe that's what the road to hell is lined with. Paved with, whatever, you know what I mean. At some point during the spring or summer, I was like, okay, it was in the midst of my recycling guilt, which is something that, you know, surfaces every now and then, but I have a TerraCycle box now, so that's being mitigated somewhat these days, thank goodness. But in that whole process, and as you know, I started doing the whole YouTube thing, and I was going to go through more products potentially. I was like, how can I do a better job of when I've hit like pan on one of my products, especially if they're in tubes, how do I do a better job of actually cleaning those things out and making sure that I'm using the product to its fullest extent without wasting anything. And on some Instagram reel at some point, I saw someone use beauty spatulas and I was like, that's genius. I'm gonna go get that. That makes the most sense ever. So you just stick the spatula in and you scoop out the product, you use the rest of it, and then the tube is actually fully empty when you go to, you know, clean it and recycle it. I should have done more research before I hit purchase. And I also shouldn't have purchased this from Amazon. That is another mistake because I don't really want to, you know, support Jeff Bezos. I support these crooked millionaires and billionaires in all kinds of other ways in my daily life, and I shouldn't have made this another one of those things. Anyways, I bought these. There's a middle one. I don't know where it is, but I also didn't realize that the big one was going to be like, it doesn't even fit in the frame. It's huge. Why is it so long? What do you need to clean out with this? What beauty product do you need to scoop out with this? If it has a big enough opening for this, you can get the product out. This one I understand. This is what I was going for, but as expected, you know, the spatula part is silicone, but it's really stiff silicone, and this is the smallest one, and it doesn't actually fit into like a concealer tube all the way. And the couple times that I tried, I got it in, but when I tried to pull it out, it pulled the stopper out, and then you just have a huge, big, shitty mess. And also I don't love that the ends are black plastic, so this is just gonna end up straight in the landfill. I have no use for this unless I decide to actually use it as a real spatula because it's big enough to do that with. But yeah, that was a mistake. And next time that I decide I need to use or buy a very specific beauty tool for a purpose that is supposed to be well intended, I just need to do more research. I just need to slow down, take a breath. The research is key. Do a little bit more, put a little bit more time investment into the purchase before I make it, or come up with a solution at home that doesn't actually require me to purchase anything new, because I'm sure I could have done the same thing with like the tongue depressors that I use for waxing. And at least those are wooden and I can throw them into the composter. So, you know. Yay for lack of impulse control. I'm pretty sure that I would fail one of those tests, like when they actually do impulse control tests in like doctor's offices where they like go to scare you and they're trying to test whether or not you have like physical impulse control. And I'm pretty sure if anyone tried to scare me, I would pop them right in the throat. So like, anyways, let's move on. I have a stationery mistake. Another impulse purchase. I love stationery. I don't know if we've gotten into that here on my channel yet at this point, but I love stationery so much with all my heart. I could get lost forever in a stationery store. Give me all the pens, give me all the notebooks. I have so many notebooks, I have so many pens. I love it. So when I see stationery, especially stationery that is on sale, especially if I'm in an emotional state, again, the impulse control goes out the window and my debit card comes out. Well, first my greedy little hands snatch the item off the shelf, and then I clutch it to my chest as if it is a small child, and then I purchase it. This is what I bought. It's very cute. It's very on theme for me, but if I bring it closer, this is very dark. So you really only have this section here to write on, because even with a black pen, nothing shows up on here. And what do you do with this? It's not like it's a sticky note. You can't stick it anywhere. It's just a very foolish notepad from Molly and Rex. It was on sale. I bought this at HomeSense. I maybe spent $5 on this. There's a lot of sheets. There's 120 sheets. I've already used some in an attempt to quell my guilt, but this was a mistake. I didn't need this. I should have just bought a lined pad of paper if I really needed a small notepad like this. I don't really use notepads, so I don't really know why I bought a notepad. I use notebooks with lined pages, and I use sticky notes because that is my method of organization when I'm working or when I'm writing or doing anything at my desk and work area. This, I don't know. It was cute and it's just wasteful. Maybe I will have to turn this into a good intentions pad of paper where I like write things that I want, or like affirmations. I could cast them into the fire and do some witchy shit, and then it'll all come true and I'll live happily ever after, thanks to Molly and Rex. Let's move on. I have a podcast, a TV show, and a movie mistake. And again, I am categorizing these as mistakes because I actively made the decision to participate in these three mediums. I don't know, would you consider something that you're getting for free and something that you engage in for free an impulse? I would, in this case. The first I'll talk about is a podcast, and it was season 1 of the podcast called Something Was Wrong, and I just stumbled upon that because I was looking for another female-led true crime podcast because I had kind of maxed out all of the recent episodes at the time on the podcast that my sister turned me on to called Morbid, which I really love because it's kind of funny, but it's just like a very safe, female-friendly space to go to for true crime. A lot of true crime podcasts and stories it's like a very male-dominated space, I think. So I was just looking for something else that was female-led, as I said. So I stumbled across Something Was Wrong. They call it a true crime podcast. It's really more just like a drama podcast, at least the first season was. And it was this whole like unraveling tale of this really like kind of disturbing relationship. These two people met online, and long story short, the guy ended up being not who he said he was, and there was all kinds of lies. And let me just kind of backtrack. I'm not the kind of person who can start and not finish something. It's really hard for me to do that because these things like stick in my mind like thorns, and there's just this constant badgering reminder that I have something unfinished and I cannot handle that. Maybe that's part of like my neurodivergence. I don't know, but it drives me fucking nuts. So I started this podcast and like almost immediately was like, oh, no, I don't like this very much. And it's a story. It's not like some podcasts where like every episode is different, so you don't necessarily have to listen to them all the way through. You can kind of pick and choose. That kind of stuff I can start and stop, but if it's an actual story with like a through line and there's a linear narrative, I need to finish it. I need to know what happened. And again, I probably should have read more into that first season, like what that first season was about, before listening to it and before kind of getting emotionally invested. But it was just like, it was very triggering for me personally. And there was just a lot of similarities that I was drawing between this, person's experience and some of the experiences that I've had. It was a mistake because it just brought up a lot of shit for me that I was like, I don't need to deal with this any more than I'm already dealing with it. I don't need to be like constantly having these traumatic memory episodes happening while I'm listening to this person's story in my ears. And I just really regret listening to season 1 of Something Was Wrong. So that was a no for me. Then it's not new anymore because, things happen so fast online that like something is old news 5 minutes ago. So I watched the show Midnight Mass. And actually one of my subscribers here mentioned that to me the other day, and I was like, listen, I have a rant about that. And given that I'm like encroaching on an hour on this video, like I'm not going to go into the full rant, but for me, that show was a mistake. I think it was a mistake in general, not just for me. And maybe one day I will go into the full rant, but I really struggle with content that is very Christian-centric. I don't love being beaten over the head with dogmatism specifically in the form of organized religion, which is another reason why the season 1 of that Something Was Wrong podcast really bothered me, was because the girl was like very Christian and like every single episode centered around that kind. It was just like very faith-based, and I personally I have nothing against anyone practicing their faith. Never, ever, ever. I just personally don't enjoy it. I don't like it. That's not where my mind or my heart or my morals lie, as in organized religion. And so Midnight Mass is a hard pill to swallow if you want to watch it for the cinematography or even just like the base storyline or the monologues, which I think there were so many monologues in that show that are beautiful, and like my inner theater kid was going, oh my god, this would be a great monologue to audition with, because it's just so great and the writing in this moment is perfect. But the show in itself was so stupid, and the amount of times I was just laughing because I was like, this is the direction you went in. I can't believe I wasted so much time watching this show and now I'm invested and I can't stop until it's over, and like, this was a mistake. I shouldn't have gone here. The third thing in this realm was the movie Chaos Walking. And I kind of ranted about this on my Instagram. This was definitely an impulsive watch. One day I'm just sitting at home alone, I'm bored, I'm knitting, I need something to keep me occupied. And I was like, ooh, I like sci-fi, new sci-fi. Ooh, it's the girl from the latest Star Wars movies. Can't remember her name right now, but I really like her. And like, there's that other young male actor that everyone likes, Tom something. And it looked interesting. I was intrigued. I love a dystopian sci-fi thing, and honestly, what a misogynistic piece of shit that movie was. Once again, I should have done some research. I should have at least read more than the little Amazon Prime blurb, and yeah, that was a mistake. I should not have watched that because I did not enjoy that. There was so much potential, and they were just like, no, we're gonna be misogynists. That movie is exactly what would happen if we let all of our space idiots at present go and colonize another planet. It's just gonna be the Wild fucking West where they kill all the women. Okay, end of rant. We'll save the rest of that for another video. Then I'm gonna just quickly whack off a few life mistakes that I have made of late because I think they're amusing. Number one, going on Hinge again. I think we've talked about this multiple times at this point. Online dating is hell. Dating in this century is hell. It is just hell on earth. The hellscape. It is Mordor. It's awful. Everyone is terrible. And every single time I try, and I know some people have like excellent success and like have met their soulmates on dating apps, whatever. Once upon a time, I thought that I had done the same thing, and it turned out to be false. I consistently have such a bad time, and I refuse to go to Bumble because I just don't want to put in that much work, and I refuse to go to Tinder because I don't want to be propositioned every second of every day. So Hinge always seems like the safe bet, and it's so disappointing. And so after like a week and a half this time around, maybe it was a couple of weeks, I don't really know, I ended up chatting with like a couple maybe nice people, and then it just kind of all fizzles out because I don't actually think that anyone truly has the energy to date right now. No one has the emotional or psychological bandwidth to actually invest themselves into the development of a new relationship. Most people just want to get their dicks wet, and like there's nothing wrong with that. That's just not what I'm looking for personally. So yeah, it was a mistake. And it was a mistake born of my impulses because I start to feel super, super lonely and just want some companionship. And honestly, I just would like to be snuggled by a big human. And again, we've had this conversation. It doesn't necessarily have to be a man. It's just a big masculine human to like play with my hair and tickle my back and just spoon me. But one day. Anyways, the second thing, taking caffeinated Tylenol at night. I like to pretend that I am resilient and immune to the effects of nighttime caffeine. I am not. And a couple times in the last week and a half I have accidentally, and then not so accidentally, taken the like migraine Tylenol, which has caffeine in it, and it was a bad idea because this is me lying there at 3 a.m. Is it too late to knit? I should clean the bathroom. I'm hungry. who's it gonna hurt if I watch another 6 episodes of Sabrina the Teenage Witch? And it just keeps going because I can't sleep because I'm so freaking wired. Okay. This week is my Humira week. I do my Humira injections every Thursday, and depending on my mood and the state of my psyche and my sweet little heart, it can go really well or it can go really bad. And 2 weeks ago, when I take every other week is my Humira injection, and so 2 weeks ago when I had to do my Humira, I did not play a good enough song. I always have to play a really good song really loudly while I'm doing it, because I need to be motivated and pumped up and, you know, trying to put myself in a better state of mind, and I didn't do that, and it ended in tears and a bruise. Having chronic illness is so much fun. They really don't teach you that in school, but they should. Another thing that I have made the mistake of doing since the time I was small is just taking work/school/work too personally. And that is definitely a topic of conversation for another video, probably an entire video where I haven't spent most of it talking about makeup, but I think that's something that we definitely should take the opportunity to dig deep in on, because I think I am not alone there in taking school or work too personally. I'm one of those people that is just like so deeply and emotionally invested in pretty much every aspect of my life, and that can really take a toll on a person, especially when, you know, we live on top of the hellmouth and are constantly being berated by external forces that we have little to no control over. So when you take work and or school and or, you know, those kinds of things in your daily life personally, you leave no room, you leave no emotional space for yourself and for the things that you should be taking personally, like your self-care, like your relationships, like your pets. Take your personal time personally, you know, take the way that you treat yourself personally, but work doesn't necessarily need to be taken so personally that you're on the brink of a mental and emotional breakdown every single day and ready to yeet your computer out of your basement window. And then last but not least is an impulse that I fought a number of weeks ago, last month. And I think fighting that impulse was actually a mistake. And a mistake in some ways, not a mistake in others, but basically in the early days of October, it was a Friday, I was in Toronto in the studio, it was lunchtime, I moseyed my way down to the HomeSense in my studio's building, as I have been wont to do, and the space was filled with glorious spooky season decorations and bits and bobs, and I walked past an end cap, and there before me was a beautiful glassware set that was Nightmare Before Christmas. And it was so lovely, and I had the box of this set of 4 gorgeous glasses in my hand. I walked around the entire store with them in my hand, and then the little angel on my shoulder said, "No, not today. This isn't a good idea. Because 1, do you really need them? 2, you don't have space for them right now. They're just going to end up in storage. 3, it's kind of precarious to be walking around with glassware in downtown Toronto, and then you have to get on a train, and then you have to walk some more to get back to your house. Do you really want to be doing that? What if someone knocks into you? What if you fall on the ground? What if they smash? Then you're going to be sad. Then you wasted $25. You know, the list of excuses of me talking myself out of this impulse buy went on and on and on. So alas, I did not buy them, and now I'm sitting here on the other side of yet another spooky season, feeling deeply disturbed that I don't have this Nightmare Before Christmas glassware set. And we are still before Christmas, so they would have been perfectly thematically appropriate. And, well, that was a mistake. Okay, this was just a lot. Thank you so much, if you are still here, for sitting through this and coming back after a little hiatus to a video full of mistakes and the inside of my curious mind. If you liked any part of this video, please give me a big thumbs up. It would help me out so much. And if you're new here and you did make it all the way through this extraordinarily long and kind of random video, hi, thank you so much. And I think that you should subscribe and we can hang out some more. I try to post a video once weekly and I have a lot to say, as you can tell. Okay guys, that is everything from me today. I hope you guys are doing well. I hope you have learned some lessons here. Sometimes impulses are okay. Most of the time, if you're making an impulse purchase or decision, it's gonna be a mistake. But what are friends for? Steer you in the right direction, and if you make those mistakes, then we're all in this together. High School Musical style. That was a dance move, if you couldn't tell. Anyways, that's everything for me today, guys. Thank you so much for watching once again. I love you guys so much, and I will see you in the next one. Okay, bye!